Greetings, beings of the internet. My name is Luke, and 'tis the season of joy and being with those you love. Now, speaking of those that you love, did you know the certain relationship type that you might want could make you toxic and controlling? Now, those aren't my words, but I have stumbled across a certain account that wants to portray those who are monogamous as strictly toxic and controlling. Now, I want to preface this and say that I am completely fine with any kind of relationship that anyone wants, whether they are monogamous, polyamorous, aromantic, or anything between. If you're not attracted to anyone, only want to be with one person, or if you are with multiple people, who am I to judge? As long as you're happy, I'm happy for you. And if you guys think I might be interpreting any of these clips incorrectly, feel free to correct me in the comments and share your thoughts and feelings. My goal here is to build a welcoming community where people can feel like they can talk about their opinions and express their points without immediately getting lashback. Now, speaking of the community that I'd like to build here, thank you guys so much for over 200 subscribers. I'm very happy to have you guys here, and I enjoy discussing these topics together. Now let's get into it. Here is the first video from this channel that I stumbled across that kind of gave me the idea for this video.
Just because I'm monogamous doesn't mean I want to control my partner.
So you can date somebody polyamorous?
No, I'm monogamous.
Why do they have to be monogamous too? What's your capacity limitation got to do with theirs?
Because I'm possessive. I want my partner all to myself.
How is that not control? If they're meeting all their requirements to you, meeting all your love languages and responsibilities to your relationship, why demand exclusivity if they can do it responsibly? Monogamous, polyamorous relationships are a thing.
Okay, first of all, they are setting up what seems to be a huge straw man argument here, where they are setting up monogamous people to immediately seem toxic and controlling just so that they can logically point out toxicity and other negative traits within these relationship types. And if you look in their comments, they put this entire thing and they say that monogamy is not a boundary, but a relationship orientation. Now, I'm not so sure how I feel about that description. Now, as someone who was questioning if they were poly or not, over time I learned that my relationship type that I desire is a monogamous relationship, and there shouldn't be anything wrong with that, and I shouldn't be called toxic or controlling for desiring that type of relationship. And yes, I can acknowledge that there are monogamous people that want to date polyamorous people, and vice versa. But people are allowed to have preferences for different relationship structures, and those preferences are not all rooted in wanting to control or own someone. This account sets it up in such a way that monogamous people strictly want to control or feel like they own or possess their partner, which is really gross thinking in the first place. They then continue on to say this:
Monogamy and possessiveness are mutually exclusive. They don't have to be tethered. I'm a jealous person. I don't want to share anyone. You don't share people. They're not objects, and neither are you a jealous person, just like you wouldn't be an angry person. Anger and jealousy are things that we should be addressing and unpacking. They're not valid reasons to control someone. I don't control.
I like how they say monogamy and possessiveness don't have to be linked, but their entire argument is linking them together. So there's a huge contradiction right there. Second of all, I don't think most people in any relationships view their partner as objects that they have to share, because that's just toxic thinking. Like, obviously, no matter what type of relationship you are in, you should never consider your partner an object to you or your territory. And I also would like to backtrack to the fact that they say they use the term relationship orientation. If it's an orientation, and you think about it in similar terms to dating or sexual orientation, this whole argument kind of makes it seem like if you compare the two, you would be telling a person who doesn't have an attraction to a certain gender that they're discriminating that gender just because they're not attracted to them, even though that is literally just their orientation or preference. Now, moving on, they go on to mention what they consider monogamy norms that they dislike as people who are polyamorous, I think is the correct term. Correct me if I'm wrong. Here's the first one they bring up.
Treating your partner like they belong to you. Thinking, you are mine, stems from the belief that you can possess someone like an object and have exclusive rights to them, treating them as territory to guard against outside threats. Polyamorous, on the other hand, view their partners as autonomous individuals, respecting their freedom to make their own choices about their bodies and romantic lives. Instead of entitlement, polyamory fosters a sense of gratitude for the connection, recognizing that love and partnership are gifts, not possessions.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely not how I view this term being used at all. I've discussed this with a few other people, and we can all agree that this term is more of a way of expressing commitment, devotion, a deep level of physical or emotional connection to someone, or I think it can express something as simple as, you are my love. It's like referring to a person as my partner. That's just what they are. It doesn't mean I own them. I still see them as a person that that can make their own choices, go out and do their own things. And I feel like that's what most people think. Now, continuing on, they mention what they call cheating culture, and they start to talk about how different relationships view transparency.
Cheating culture. Monogamy has a significant cheating culture, with 60% of people admitting to cheating at some point. Cheating happens in polyamory too, but anecdotally, it's rarer. I've only been cheated on by monogamous partners. Non-monogamy values transparency so highly that dishonesty often ends relationships, while traditional monogamy relationships often center more on appearances and performance than genuine transparency. When people conform to monogamy despite not being naturally inclined, cheating is inevitable.
Now, first of all, I think transparency should be valued in any relationship type, because last I checked, lying to those you love is not good for the connection on either side in most cases. Secondly, I hope not all monogamous relationships are focused strictly on performance and appearance only, or any relationship in general, because yikes. I think most people in general would value transparency in a relationship and would probably end it if the other person was being dishonest. It's not strictly just people who are polyamory or monogamous or strictly any way. It should be all relationship types. In conclusion, I do not think this account is portraying monogamous individuals properly and is trying to say that all of the reasons why they could want a monogamous relationship is rooted in some kind of toxicity. And I feel like there shouldn't be an argument of what relationship type is better, because at the end of the day, everyone has their preferences and desires, and those don't make them horrible human beings. Different connections can be seen across all species. There are some that stick with one partner for life, and there are some that are the opposite. But that doesn't make it wrong. You are not a bad person for wanting a certain relationship structure, and again, as long as you're happy and not hurting yourself or others, who am I or anyone else to judge that? I feel like the sole purpose of some of the arguments coming from this account are to make people feel like they are controlling or have jealousy problems when they really don't. As long as everything is healthy and consensual for all parties involved, then you are not what they are trying to portray. Now, feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments and we can discuss together. Thank you guys so much for being here and enjoy the holidays. That's all I have for now. Enjoy your next internet endeavor.